the end of today's lesson. We have been learning so much about verbs. Do you remember this page? Well, we learned that a verb is a word that tells what someone or something does or is like. We learned about action verbs. Here were a few of the action verbs we learned about: float, jump, run, fall. Remember, action verbs are verbs that tell what someone or something does. And we also learned about those linking verbs. The linking verbs that we talked about were verbs like is, are, am, and was. And linking verbs show what a person or thing is like. So let's keep all of that in mind as we continue with today's lesson. We also learned that some verbs happen in the present right now, and we also learned that some verbs take place in the past. And we learned that when we are talking about some verbs that are talking in the past, we have to add ed to the end. And there were lots of rules that we learned. So I'm going to go a little quickly with this because this is just a review. We learned that the past tense of many verbs is formed simply by just adding ed to the end. Like walk turns to walked, and jump turns to jumped, and all we had to do was add ed. We also learned that when the verb ends in y, we have to change that y to an I and then add ed. Like in the word spy, we dropped the y and added ied to change the word to spied, happened in the past. Or copy, we drop that y and we add I and then add ed to the end. And now we have this past tense verb, copied. I did it in the past. I did it a few seconds ago. I copied a paper. We also learned this rule. If the verb ends with a short vowel sound in a single consonant, we need to double the consonant before adding ed. That was that tricky one, but I think you may have gotten it. So for instance, in the word stop, the O has a short vowel sound, ah, and it ends in a consonant P. So I had to double the P, make two of them, and add ed. And here's that word stopped. And then here was our next example, pat and patted. And our final rule that we learned about in our last lesson was that when the verbs end with a silent E, we drop that E before we add our ed. And here are our examples. Chase has a silent E, and now our new word is chased. And then hike has a silent E, so we drop it, and now our new verb is hiked. You have been learning so much about verbs, and we're going to continue learning about verbs today. Today we will continue to learn about past tense verbs. Remember, those verbs that happen in the past. But today's verbs that we are going to learn about, well, they're called irregular verbs. And that word irregular means that they're not regular. We have to do something different to them. These verbs actually have a different spelling when they tell about the past. And these are verbs we just need to learn. Here are a few examples. The word go, happening in the present, when we think about that word in the past, we actually change it to the word went. The spelling changes 100%. Go changes to went. The verb sit, if it's happening right now, that's the word we use, sit. But if I'm talking about what I did in the past, I actually change it to say sat. And the word find is present tense. It's something that I do right now. I will find it right now. But if I want to talk about something that I did in the past using this word, I say found. I found $1 yesterday. I was pretty lucky. And this word hide, it's happening right now. It's in the present. But when I talk about it in the past, we actually change the word to hid. Hide happens now, but I hid just a couple of minutes ago. These are some examples of some verbs that happen in the past that are irregular. Here's one more. If I say something, I'm saying right now. But if it happens in the past, it's the verb said. Woof, that's a lot of new learning. Let's let that sink in just for a moment. Okay, Now let's take a look at this first sentence. This first sentence says, yesterday I go into my room. Well, if this clue word here says yesterday, then that means that it happened in the past. So I can go ahead and I could look at my chart here, and it tells me that the present is go, but past, I should have said went. So I need to actually change this sentence so that my verb happens in the past. So instead of yesterday, I go into my room, I need to use this word went. Take a look. Yesterday, I went into my room. Let's take a look at another example. This sentence reads, I hide in the closet. Here's our verb right here, hide. But we're still talking about what happened yesterday, so I can't use the present tense. Let me take a look up here. Oh, well, the past tense of hide is hid, so I need to change this word. Now my sentence reads this, I hid in the closet. Let's take a look at the story so far. Yesterday, I went into my room. I hid in my closet. Yes, everything is happening in the past. Now it reads, I sit quietly. Well, remember, our story is happening yesterday. This word sit is our verb, but that's not happening right now. Let me take a look at our chart. Sit changes to sat. So let me change this sentence. I sat quietly. It's still happening in the past. Let's read the next part of our story. Soon, Kim find me. To find happens right now, but you know when this story happened. So I need to change this verb, find, which is in the present tense, to the past tense. Go ahead and look at our chart right here. Which word am I going to change find to? Go ahead and think. Did you say found, this one right here? Yes. Now let's listen to the sentence. Soon Kim found me. We have one more sentence, and it says, I say hello. Which word is the verb in this sentence? Yes, say. But remember, say is a present tense verb. But this happened yesterday. So how am I going to change this sentence? What is it going to say when I do? Did you say that I will change the word say to said? Nice work. Now my sentence reads, I said hello. There she is, saying hello. Let's read the story now. Read it with me. Yesterday, I went into my room. I hid in the closet. I sat quietly. Soon, Kim found me. I said hello. Yes, this story makes sense. It's happening in the past, so my verbs need it to happen in the past also. These are some examples of some irregular verbs. Really nice work. Here are a few more examples of some irregular past tense verbs. The present tense see, meaning happening right now, looks like this. But if I want to talk about something in the past, I use the word saw. I see it now. I saw it a couple of minutes ago. Get changes to got. Run changes to ran. Make. What do you think it might change to? I make it now, but I made it yesterday. Yeah, nice job. Tell, I tell you right now, or it looks like this in the past. I told you just a few moments ago. Give changes to gave, and keep changes to kept. Let's look at these past tense verbs again and read them with me, okay? Saw, got, ran, made, told, gave, kept. Now, I want you to think, can you use one of these past tense irregular verbs in a sentence? And what would it sound like? Go ahead and think. Well, I chose to use the word made in a sentence, and here it is. I made pizza for dinner last night. Last night happened in the past, so I had to use the word made. I also thought of this sentence. I saw a rainbow yesterday. It happened in the past yesterday, so instead of saying see, I need to use the word saw. Rainbows are so beautiful, aren't they? Now let's practice using these irregular past tense verbs so that we can become experts. So here are the verbs that we are going to be working with today. Told, got, went, hid, sat. Okay? So let's read them again and I want you to say them with me. Told, got, went, hid, sat. Okay, now listen to this first sentence. It reads, last night I blank upstairs. I need the past tense of the word go. Which word am I going to use? Did you say went? Yes. Last night I went upstairs. Went is in the past tense. Last night happened in the past. Okay, let's take a look at our next example. I blank into bed. In parentheses, it tells me my present tense is get. Which verb is past tense? Were you thinking got? Nice work. Now listen to the sentence. I got into bed. Let's listen to the third sentence. My big brother blank next to me. In the parentheses, I see the present tense verb, but I need the past tense. Which verb am I going to use? I hope you were thinking sat. Read the sentence with me. Ready? Here we go. My big brother sat next to me. This is still happening last night in the past. Number 4 reads this. He blank me a bedtime story. The present tense is tell, but if it happens in the past, which verb will I use? Yes, told. Read the sentence with me. He told me a bedtime story. And let's listen to our last sentence. The story was scary, so I blank under the covers. What's the past tense of the verb hide? It's the last one left. Hid. Nice work. Help me read this sentence. The story was scary, so I hid under the covers. Remember, when we practice this, we get a lot better. So we're on our way. Nice job. That's the end of today's lesson. For your assignment today, you're asked to complete page 42 in your Being a Writer language skill practice book. Remember, you can use paper and pencil if you don't have that book at home, or you'll be finishing the assignment that your teacher has assigned for you.